B'shut Kal HaKadosh, everybody welcome. B'ezrat Hashem, may Hashem bless us with the blessings of the Holy Torah. B'ezrat Hashem, everybody going to be Purim Sameach. We're going to wish Barachat Tzlacha LeYaakov Ben Asher. Thank you for sponsoring this shiur. Tony, Adam, please, thank you very much. May Hashem bless him with all the blessings. Yura Dichkanov, Salmon Dichkanov, B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. הלכו בתורך תורה ומצוות ומעשים טובים וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. אלף הבדלות בין המתים לחיים לעילוי נשמת סופה שרה בת טוב הרוח השם תנחנה בגן עדן היא וכל השוכבים עמה בכלל רחמים והצליחות וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. Of course we're coming closer to the Purim. בעזרת השם תבוא עלינו לטובה. And over here it says following about the amalek. Amalek, which is talks about the Torah talks about who is the Amalek, who is the Shoresh, which just means the essence and the root of the Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu Mordechai hayta nitgaver al Amalek va'alman ad yedei shar ha-chamishim. He says Moshe Rabbeinu ve Mordechai able to overcome the Amalek. So very important for us to know. It's actually whatever we're going to say. We said a lot of times it's something new that we see in the media is new, we see in the world is new. Chachamim says, Shlomo HaMelech says following, En chadash tachat hashemesh. Nothing new is under the sun. So let's see what he says over here. Shabbat Kodesh lifnei Purim nikra Shabbat Zachor. Before the Shabbat, which is before, we're going to read the Megillah, it's called Shabbat HaZachor. Remember the Shabbat. What is it remember, see? Al Shem tiknu chachamenu b'mishla Megillah. Like it says in the Talmud in Masechet Megillah in page 29. Likrot bo parashat Zechor Amalek, in Sefer Dvarim following says 25:17. Zechor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'derech b'tzetchem miMitzrayim. The Torah madgish, the Torah pinpoints, and it says, remember when we came out from the Egypt, who came towards us is Amalek. And he says, remember this, b'derech tzetchem miMitzrayim. Why would we need to remember? V'atam lekach mivar barashi. Rashi says following. Kedei sheyitkara parasha zachor b'shabbat smucha lePurim. He says Rashi, so the Purim, able to read that Shabbat before the Purim, we're able to read about the Amalek. L'samuch michiyat Amalek, Haman, and it's also destroying this Haman and smearing him, which just means completely nullifying him. Pirush haneh shel haPurim kashur lemitzvat michiyat Amalek. He says, Purim, it corresponds with erasing Amalek. Sha'arei Haman ben Hamedata Hagagagi Tzorel Kol Yidum v'Chachmav Mizaro Amalek. We know Haman Rasha. We know all the Chachamav, which just means all the wise advisors of the Haman Rasha come from the Amalek, descendants of the Amalek. Nimtza Hadrigatam hu bechinat mechiyat Amalek. And we have a mitzvah to erase Amalek. לכן בשבת לפני פורים רואים לקרוא פרשת מצוות מחיית עמלק. And that's why before mitzvah aseh deoraita, what we do, we're reading the parasha before the Purim, which is this Shabbat Kodesh, it's coming alenu letova. We're going to read about erasing Amalek. זאת ועוד מדברי חכמינו מובן שכבר במלחמת עמלק רמז הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה רבנו על נס פורים בפסוק. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hints to Moshe Rabbeinu the future miracle that he's going to do during the Purim time. It's remez, which means hints in a verse in the Torah in the Shemot, chapter 17, verse 14. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, ketiv zot zikaron besefer vazim beozno Yoshua. He says, Vezot vayomer Hashem, and Hashem spoke to Moshe. Katav zot hazikaron. He says, you need to write it down to remember and to give it, and you need to transform to the Yeshua in his ear. Why does not say just read it for him? It says you need to transform to him to his ear. Moshe Rabbeinu commends to the Yeshua. Yeshua takes away the Amalek, and it says completely destroying him. Dashru kacha b'Gemara. Megillah Daf Zayin. In the Talmud it says following in Masechet Megillah in page 7. Katav Zot, it says you should write this. מה שכתב כאן במשנה תורה מלחמת יהושע עם עמלק, זיכרון מה שכתב בנביאים מלחמת שאול עם עמלק. He says, whatever it says in the Torah, that should be Amalek been erased. Moshe Rabbeinu commands who? Yoshua ben Nun. Who else? Shaul Amalek was the first king in a Jewish nation. Hashem tells him, you need to erase Amalek. בספר מה כתוב במגילה זה נזכיר להבין במלחמת הגדולה שלחה משה רבנו כנגד עמלק. משה רבנו fought with Amalek, Yoshua ben Nun fought the Amalek, and Shaul Amalek. כבר נעשה הכנה לקראת נס פורים. He says, whatever the Moshe Rabbeinu did, he prepared for us the miracle of the Purim. Emche natrikon Esther Mordechai Charvona Hatach. Emche, which just means erase. If we're going to erase the word Aleph, Mem, Chet, Hey, what it says? Emche Esther, Mem, Mordechai, Chet, Hatach, Vehei, Harvona. Who is these four people? These four people that saved the Jewish nation. Emche, where it says erase, there's Esther, Mordechai, Harvona, Vechatach. 4 names is already remes, which is hint in a Torah. Kimche, yes, Rabbi. וזה לעניין בפסוק, כי מחה ימחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים. And it's supposed to be under the heavens, it's supposed to be erase Amalek. אמחה נטריקון אסתר מרדכי חרבונה חתך, על ידי ממחה הקדוש ברוך הוא זכר עמלק את המן בן המדתה מתחת השמיים. It says Esther, Mordechai, Harvona v'chatach, in their merits, he erased the Amalek, which is Haman, under the heavens. בורא מה שכתוב בברית כהונת עולם. Let's see another. כי הנס פורים רומז על הפסוק. So it says, you want to know where it says in the Torah about remes, which means a hint that talks about the Purim in a pasuk. Vayomer ki yad al kesya milchama laHashem ba'amalek dor vador. Hashem says, my throne is going to be only complete, only in one condition, is going to be mechiyat et Amalek, erasing Amalek. Dor midor. The Torah, Rabbi Salman says, every generation we're going to have Amalek. Every generation we're going to have a destruction of Amalek that wants to control the mind. And by the way, if you have a time, there's a called, in 1963, the CIA took, it's called paperclip. So what they did, how do you know the algorithm in a human mind that we all the time is searching and we can't get off of it? It's already done in 1963, how the human mind able to understand, how able to comprehend, and what catches his eye, what catches his attention. Very important, very deep. Why I like to look at the news, why specific news I like to look. It's a very deep analogy. So what is it? It's continue happening and happening. They all come from the Amalek. Amalek, it's also intellectual. Intellectual, they're putting person down, depressed, don't want to do nothing, don't have desires, laziness. That's called Amalek, intellectual. Rabbi, I can't believe this. That's what it says in the Torah. That's why the Torah says, Dor midor dor, generations and generations, which just means all the time. Sheken hanes Purim haya b'shnei yamim. Says the miracle of Purim happened within 2 days. La'arei ha'perizim v'yudalit ba'adar li'udim asher b'shushan tedvav ba'adar. He says Shushan Abirah, which is in Persia, they celebrate it on the 15th Adar. We celebrate it on the 14th of Adar. Why Mordechai ve'Esther says you need to do these 2 days? Okay? לעשות עמו פורים בשני ויוד אדר לערי הפריזים שאין להם חומה, לערים שיש לכם חומה מיומות יהושע בן נון, ט"ו באדר. He says, where is the choma, which means the wall? Where is the city is surrounded by the wall? They do the Purim on the 15th of Adar. The city does not surrounded by the wall. They'll do it on the 14th of Adar. Why is that? In United States of America, we do on the 14th Adar. But you come to Eretz Israel, to Holy Land, where you do Adar, which means on the 14th, where people living was not from the Yoshua ben Nun, the walls was not covered, the city. What's the point of covering the walls with the city? So the city would not be conquered fast. So in Yerushalayim, in some places, it's written on the 15th of Adar. So if you want to have a 2 days party in a mitzvah, you go in a city where it's 14th of Adar, then you go in a Yerushalayim in the 15th of Adar. וזה רמז הכתוב כי יד על כסיה, יד הוא יד באדר ואלו יד. So it says, the hand on a throne of Hashem, the hand is numerical value 14. The throne of Hashem, Kesya, which means 15. So 14 of Adar, we're reading the Megillah, and we're reading 15 of Adar, 14 and 15. Yad, which means in a numerical value is 14. 15 numerical value is 15. Yud K. So from here we learn in the Torah, you have a hint that we talk about the Purim. You see, you guys just came to this just to hear this type of chidushim, which means something new that we never even heard before. Milchama laHashem amalek dor vador. He says milchama, fighting. The amalek is not only fighting with the Yidden. Amalek also fights with Hashem. What does it mean? בדרך זה מואר עוד כי כסיה גימטריה המן מזרע עמלק. He says Kesya, which means the throne of Hashem, is numerical value Haman. Haman, which means Amalek. היה מזרע עמלק הוא זה שגורם לכך שכסה יהיה חסר מבחינת Kes bli Aleph. He says Haman always take away the letter Aleph and it's going to be missing. כי גם השם יהיה חסר י"ק בלי ו"ק, כס י"ק מלחמה, להיות גימטריה. He says, the throne of Hashem, and a milchama, which means war, LaHashem, war to Hashem, גימטריה, numerical value, Mordechai. כי הוא שנלחם עם המן מזרע עמלק. He says he's the one who's fighting. With who? With Haman, that comes from the Amalek. Levaer min haolam. He says, destroy him from this world. הרי יש קשר גדול בין מלחמת עמלק לנס פורים. He says you have a big connection between the Purim and fighting with Amalek. שהיה גם כן בחינה מחיית עמלק. And we have a positive mitzvah to erase Amalek. אשר לכם נס פורים רמז במלחמת עמלק. על כן תקנו חז"ל לקרוא בשבת לפני פורים מצווה מחיית עמלק. That's why our sages say, Shabbat, before you're going to read the Purim, the Megillah, you need to read it, so you have to remember who is Amalek. כדי לעשות בזה הכנה להתעוררות. So we need to prepare and so-called awaken ourselves. מחיית עמלק, in order for us to erase the Amalek. בפורים, in a Purim. והנה כאן דבר בעיתו מה טוב להתבונן על קשר בין מלחמת עמלק לנס של הפורים. He says when we do stuff in the holidays, in the high holidays especially, we bring in good to this world. By we doing the mitzvot, משלוח מנות, קריאה מגילה, איש לרעהו, מתנות לאיש רעהו, giving person to person. What we're doing connection. And we have a meal. Also that day, we should not work because working that day, everybody has to busy themselves in happiness with the kids, with the family. It's going to be by Zrat Hashem this Motzei Shabbat and Sunday. Saturday night to Sunday, correct. ואגב יתבהר כמה עניינים מלחמת על עמלק, מה ויקש שהלחינו בדרך אמת. זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק. When we came out from Egypt, Hashem commanded us, remember what Amalek did to you. נתחיל במצוות מחיית עמלק, אנו קוראים בשבת זכור פרשת כי תצא. It says כי תצא למלחמה, which is, in the Torah it says you should go to war. In ספר דברים, in chapter 25:17, זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק בדרך בצאתכם ממצרים אשר קורך בדרך. He says, remember when you came out from Egypt, Amalek right away came in and fight with you. קורך בדרך. When a person has a strength and a power and motivation, and he wants to do mitzvah, and somebody comes in and he says, you don't need it, it's not for you right now, this is called Amalek. What he does, whatever he had the desire, he makes the desire to be frozen, which means that he has no more desire to do it. That's Amalek. So each one of us, we have to know. Lev Yadad Marat Nafsho, we have to know in our neshama if we connected to Amalek when we come to the mitzvot. It could be inner talking to the person, whether a person busy, whether a person is lazy, whether a person cannot make it. This everything comes from the Amalek. That's why he says, remember, Amalek, what he does? Nechalshim, chalash, weakens person. What does it mean? I'm not weakened, I'm strong, I'm powerful. No. When it comes to the mitzvot, he becomes, it makes the person weaken the person. Person becomes weak. What is it? Vata ayef, and a person is tired, and you're not going to be afraid of Hashem. You're tired. How many times we heard, I'm tired, I'm tired. That's Amalek. That's Amalek. Vaya, v'aniach Hashem elokech mikol oivecha misaviv ba'aretz asher Hashem elokecha natan lecha nachala reshta. He says, all the nations around you, Hashem gave you to Eretz Israel, and you're going to inherit that. Timche et zecher al Amalek, mitachat hashalayim lo tishkach. In the Torah says, erase Amalek, don't forget. Don't forget who is Amalek. Al milchemet kashal al Amalek, Israel motzim bazohar HaKadosh. He says, milchama with al Amalek is one of the hardest war in a Jewish nation. What is it, Rabbi? Al milchama kashel Amalek im Israel matzinu bazohar HaKadosh. In the Zohar says, in Parashat Bashalach, in page 65 עמוד ב' מיום בריאת עולם ועד ביאת המשיח לא תהיה מלחמה קשה כמלחמת עמלק. Zohar HaKadosh says, from the creation of the world until the coming of the Mashiach, he says one of the hardest wars for the Jewish people is going to be Amalek. Why is that? Amalek becomes intellectual, Amalek becomes spiritual, Amalek becomes physical. There's so many nisyonot. Ech omrim nisyonot, Rabbi Yehuda? Difficulty, challenges. There's so many challenges. Some people, Jewish turning Muslim, Christians, doubts, underestimating. It says in the time of Mashiach, that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot of bilbul, confusion, big confusion. And we see this. We see how it's Yidgashem, which just means whatever our prophet said, it becomes physical. You really see it. If you would have read it, you would just read it in the books. It's the test right now. It becomes what? And he says, Lo tishkach, Zohar HaKadosh says, from the time of the creation until the time of Adam HaRishon, until the time of the Mashiach, לא הייתה מלחמה קשה כמלחמת עמלק כנגד כוחות הקדושה. He says, Amalek is going to fight everything against the Kedusha. Kedusha, which means holiness. Balashon Kodsho. And that's what it said. תוך הזה מאן דיומא דדברי עלמא, עד דהוא זימנה, מהו זימנה עד דיידע מלכה משיחה, אפילו ביומא דגוג ומגוג לא ישכח כבתי. He says, even the Gog and Magog happened, which just means the Gog, Magog is the king. He says, don't forget who is the Amalek. לאו בגין חיילים תקיפין וסגין, אלא בגין דכל סיטרין, דקובע, the Zohar HaKadosh says, Amalek is always fighting the Kedusha. So we need to have to know, what is the Kedusha for me? How am I striving and desire for Kedusha? Which means for the holiness. What is it connecting me to the holiness? What's all the questions to the holiness? So the Chazal says, the first thing, there's a 3 Yetzer Hara in a person. There's a father and a mother, and his Rebbe. That's a Yetzer Tov. But he has a Yetzer Hara. Who is a good angel for him? His Rebbe. His father and a mother is in a good stage. They consider Yetzer Tov a good angel. Remember we said, you're a good angel. You have to do good things. Can you explain what means good things? Yes, you have to be good. Can you explain? Can you expound of being good? Sometimes the goodness of the person would kill him. There's a time where a person could be good, and there's a time where he needs to go fight for the Hashem. But he says, no, that's not the way we learn. We're liberal. Everything is open. No. The Torah says, excuse me, stop over there. There's the laws, there's the mishpatim, there's the laws, and there's the commandments. You cannot just say, no. I want to be good. We have to understand what the good Chazal say. בורא מיום שנברא העולם אותו זמן באותו זמן עד שיעבד משיח אפילו בימי מלחמת גוג לא תהיה עוד מלחמה כמותה לא בגלל כוחות חיילים חזקים רבים שיהיה בעמלק. He says, don't you think just because in a Gog and Magog you're going to have a power, you're going to have so many soldiers, you're going to have the biggest army in the world. אלא משום שנלחם עם הקדוש ברוך הוא מכל הצדדים. Amalek is fighting with Hashem from all the sides. And who is the Hashem kids? We the Hashem kids. Banim atem la Hashem Elokechem. We the kids of Hashem. And he's all the time fighting. He does not stop. 1 second. Yes, Rabbi? What? Oh, that's a good question you're asking.
Usually when somebody hates you, it's because they actually love you, but they can't.
So you need to ask the question, why was Amalek created anyways in the first place? Yes, why it was created? What's the point of having a creation of him? Why hatred of Esav? Why the Amalek came? Where's the Amalek? Jealousy. Okay, just because me and you does not agree on something, it doesn't mean you're bad, I'm good, or you good, or I'm bad. We just disagree in some points. It's okay. You're allowed to disagree with people, and you're allowed to agree. You have all the choices. So the question being asked, why is the Amalek came to this world, right? What's the point of him having it? Why did Hashem place such a so-called a person that goes against everything the people that want to do serve Hashem? You want to know? So it says, Timna came to Avram Avinu, and she says, I want to marry you. If I don't want to marry you, can I be concubine? What do you say? Concubine, which just means I want to be just a servant. He didn't accept it. Yitzchak did not accept it. Yaakov did not accept it. They say Eliphaz got married. Some says Esav married and Eliphaz. And that's how the Amalek came. It says because they pushed her away, instead of bringing her to the convert that they did, that's one of the reasons the Amalek came out.
So her being the mother of Amalek, isn't she a greater evil?
Say it again, Rabbi?
Isn't she a greater evil?
Did it or they did?
They didn't accept her. So my question is asked, what did Avram Avinu all day did? He accepted the converts. What did Sarah did all day? She made the woman converts. So why did it not accept her? No, listen, the Gemara says in Yevamot, page 46, when a Gentile becomes a Jew, it's like a little child. Is everything free from all the sins and everything? Oh, you need to figure it out.
Where does she come from?
You need to figure it out. That's why Hashem gave you a brain, so you could stagen and to know and to ask the questions. צריך להתבונן במהות מלחמת של עמלק. He says, well, let's understand the essence. I just gave you a little insights of what means Amalek. וצריך להתבונן במהות מלחמת של עמלק. He says, let's understand what means Amalek and what's his essence. באיזה בחינה נלחם עמלק עם ישראל? He says, how the Amalek fights with Jewish nation. שעליה מעיד הזוהר לא תהיה מלחמה כאשר כזאת. Zohar already says there's no harder war than fighting with Amalek. Afibu melchemet Gog Magog, even in a war of the Gog Magog. לעתיד לבוא, in the future. עוד צריך להבין, איך ייתכן שבאותו זמן שכל העמים נבהלו מישראל? He's asking a question. When we came out of Egypt, everybody, all the nations were like shocked. Nivhalu, shocked. So scared, right. So all the nations were scared. Amalek wasn't scared. Katuv b'shirat hayam. We say every day. Az nivhalu alufei Edom. He says even the afraid and the fear, alufei Edom. Aluf, where it says in the Torah, the commanders, the chiefs of the Edom, they were even afraid. He says the whole world was shaken from the Jewish nation. He says Amalek comes in and he starts fighting with us in a place called Refidim, like we live in Rego Park, Forest Hills, the place called Refidim. Chazal says, what means Refidim? Rifyon Yadayim min Torah. They stop learning Torah. That's why the Amalek came in. Rifyon Yadayim, which just means when you want to grab something, you don't grab it, you just let it go. When you let it go, that's why the Amalek. Vayavo Amalek b'Refidim. Why it says in that location? Why it does not say other location? Chazal says, Rifyon Yadayim min Torah. We let the Torah go. He says, in Egypt we're only 210 years. We would have felt, if Hashem would not take us out, we felt almost in the 50th gate, impurity. Let's explain that. What means 50th gate of impurity? Chazal says, 50th gate impurity, intermarriage with other nations, which just means with the Egyptians. Once if a person gets into marriage with the Gentiles, that's it, he's completely gone. And that's what Hashem did not want it, and that's why he took it out right away to Jewish nation. כדי להבין כל זה נקדים הקדמה ידיעה מקורה בסידור אריזה ונקרא סידור בני שבטי. הגדה פסח ביור הכתוב ולא יכלו he says, Am Israel not able to concentrate when we're in Egypt. מצרים שקו ישראל במ"ם שערי טומאה. In the 49th level of the impurity, we were inside the Tumah. What does it mean? What's the Egyptian did? 130 years they were throwing kids, boys especially, to where? To water. Why boys? Why not girls? Why not both? Huh? No. No. The reason is Maleh Zima Ha'aret, Znut. They want to do Znut. Znut, which just means, how are you saying it? Promiscuity, which just means, why they, if there's so many girls, there's not enough boys, so what happens? There was many women. That was known in Meretz Mitzrayim. That was known the Egypt known for that. Ervat ha'aretz. It says over there, Ervat ha'aretz. The gay, the lesbians, all this come from them, from the Egyptians. And that's why what they did, they're taking these boys and throwing it. Why not girls? And they did it. And it says this is one of the 49 of the Tumah. Tumah, which just means impurity. Shevet Levi was living in a city. But the other people, they went in Egypt, they want to develop, be real estate developers. And they say, we're going to develop. And they develop until the Pharaoh says, you're going to be my slaves. And that's how they got the Yidden inside the Egypt. Eretz Goshen, where the yeshiva, Shevet HaLevi, you should be praiseworthy to yourself. Shevet HaLevi sitting, learning, shtagin, they don't care about no Egyptian, they don't care about Statue of Liberty, Vegas, they don't care about that. They're sitting and they're behind the closed doors in a yeshiva. But others, when Vatitzu, they came out and they started looking for business opportunities. So how you get people? Through business opportunities. What's wrong with that, Rabbi? Everybody have to make money. Yes. There's a time to make money. There's a time to say, stop, I cannot do this. Because once we do that, then we don't know no family. Then we don't know nothing. We just know ourselves and being selfish individual. So, Kamru, Basha she'yetzu Israel miMitzrayim, Amad Samakel HaMalach lekatrek otam. He says, when we came out from Egypt, there's an angel called Samuel L. Jackson. Samakel. I cannot pronounce his name because once you pronounce his name, what happens? You trigger his powers and he influences those powers to the person. So Samuel L. Jackson, he becomes Samakel, that's his name. What he does, he prosecutes the Jewish nation. אמר לה לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, ריבונו של עולם. He says, Master of Universe. עד עכשיו היו אלו עובדים עבודת כוכבים. He says, they are idol worshippers. Who are you taking out of the Egypt? The prosecuting angel. They are idol worshippers. Jews are idol worshippers. ואתה קורא להם את הים. He says, you're splitting the sea for them. ואם היו אוסרים נשאלים במצרים עוד רגע אחד. He says, if we were חס ושלום, even 1 second would be in Egypt, היו שוקים בשער נון של הטומאה ולא יכולים לצאת משם לעולם. He says, we would have been in the 50th gate of the tumah, of the impurity, and would never come out from Egypt. לכן לא יכלו להתמהר במצרים. That's why they would not be able even 1 minute to stay in the מצרים. וזה כתוב באור החיים הקדוש. אור החיים following says. ולזה יוצאים בנקודה האחרונה של מ"ט שערי טומאה. He says, in the last minute, we came out from the 49th gate of the impurity. הקודם נכנסו לשער נון, before we're even going to enter the 50th gate. ואומרים, גואלה מיד. And that's why הקדוש ברוך הוא, right away, without any warning, right away he took us out. אמלאו לכרועה פלא. He says, let's understand it. מדוע היו נכנסים בשער, אי אפשר היו להוציאם. He says, if they would have went on the 50th gate of the impurity, why are you not able to take them out? אך ביאור הזה כתוב בשלה הקדוש. השלה הקדוש following says, על פי מה אמרו חכמינו מכל האדם. He says, חכם מכל האדם. King Solomon says following, smartest, wisest man in the world. קהלת 7:14. גם את זה לעומת זה עשה אלוקים. He says, the way Hashem created the Kedusha, which just means purity, and in the same token, a person have impurity. So if a person does purity, he pushes away impurity. What if a person does purity, the Torah, mitzvot, v'gimilut chasadim v'midot, he does not work on himself, he does not gimilut chasadim, what happens? Automatically he becomes impure. There's no things halfway pregnant woman. There's such a thing, either kedusha, either holiness, or the not holiness. לכן אי אפשר להוציא אותם השערי טומאה, רק על ידי מי שיש לעומת זה כוחות של הקדושה. He says, whoever have the kedusha, which means the strength and the power to take out the Jewish nation, only through kedusha. Kedusha, which means the holiness. והנה שנו בגמרא, it says in the Gemara in מסכת ראש השנה, page 21, 50 שערי בינה נברא בעולם. He says 50 gates of pureness came to this world, and 50 gates in pureness also came to this world. כולם ניתנו משה חסר אחד. All the 50 gates was created in the world. Moshe Rabbeinu reached the 49th gate of the Kedusha, of the holiness. 49th gate. שנאמר תחסרנו מיד מאלוקים. And it says, Hashem says, you're going to be just a little bit missing from me, just a little bit. מכיוון משה רבנו היה שליח להוציא את ישראל ממצרים. Moshe Rabbeinu was the shaliach, messenger to take the Jewish people out of the Egypt. רק מ"ט שערי בינה. Moshe Rabbeinu able to understand 49 level of the בינה. לא היה לאכלו יצרי את רק מ"ט שערי טומאה. Moshe Rabbeinu is the messenger. He's able only to take out the Jewish people from the 49th gate of the Tumah, because he comes from the 49th gate of the Kedusha. So because of that, Moshe Rabbeinu able to take them out. לכן לא יכלו להתמהם במצרים כדי שלא ישקו בנון תד. He says, if they would have been in the 50th gate, Moshe Rabbeinu not able to take the Jewish nation out of the Egypt. אז לא יכלו לצאת ממצרים על ידי משה רבנו שלא זכו לשער נון של הקדושה. Moshe Rabbeinu did not merit to have 50th gate of the Kedusha. על פי מאמור מואר בשלה הקדוש, פרשה ויחי. השלה הקדוש says in פרשה ויחי. עניין מטה משה נקרא מטה אלוקים. He says, the staff which means the stick of Moshe is considered the stick of Elokim, the stick of Hashem. שעשה בו כל אותות מופתים הוציא את ישראל ממצרים. He says through the staff, which means through the stick, through the wooden, he's able to do all the miracles that they perform in Eretz Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu asik memtet sha'ar bina. Moshe Rabbeinu able to reach 49 gate of the Kedusha. V'yadoko bina od hei rishona mishem havaya baruch hu. He says, you know, we have a keter chuma bina, chesed gura. He says, bina come from od hei, the first letter of yud k. So it's the first hey of the bina. What is it trying to tell us? V'zeh inyan. Rav Nisim, look at this. Ki binahu od hei rishona mishem havaya baruch hu. V'zeh inyan mateh. Mateh, which is means memtet, which is means 49. Hey, which is means he reached the bina, the 49 level of the bina. That's why he's able to perform mateh, which is means the staff of Moshe, the stick. It's 49, which is the gates of the bina. Bina, which is means the hey rishona. Hey rishona, v'lashon kodsho ki memtet sha'arei sha'arim bina nitgalu lo ubina hi hey rishona. מהשם כנודע, וזה סוד מטה משה, מואר מטעם זה, לא יכול ישראל להתמהמה, כדי שלא ישקעו בשער נם. That's why the Jew, the Yidden, not able to sit in the Eretz Mitzrayim another second. If there will be, Moshe not able to take them out. אלו שמות, אלו שמתו בשלושה ימי אפילה, שקע בנו שערי טומאה. Now he's giving us secrets. Now he's giving us the depths. We have to understand, we're going all the way, who is Amalek. He says, who passed away in the 3 days of darkness? He says, those people, whoever was Shakua, which means they were in a gate of the impurity, the 50th gate. That's why they're not able to come out. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu not able to take them out. Let's see, Rabbi.
You said that they gave it a simulation.
There's a Shuvim Panim LeTorah. I just gave you one interpretation. We're looking for 69 more. For 69, we're looking more. There's Chidushim all the time. Bore ma matzinu chidushe gadol bedevrei bnei Yisachar. Bnei Yisachar says following big chidush. Adar ma'amar be'edrush zayin. Ki arba'a chalakim mi-Yisrael shelo matzu me-Mitzrayim. Umetu b'shloshe yamei afilah. He says 80%, which is arba'at chalakim, 80% of heathen passed away in Egypt during the 3 days of darkness. Hu mishum shaku b'kvar banu sha'arei tumah. They were already in the 50th gate of the tumah. V'adayin lo yagi'a zman levareram ad la'atil lavo b'lashon kodsho. Says they're not able to come out. V'nei galut Mitzrayim lachen galuyot hu levarer nitzot hakodesh. Now let's understand the depths. Why we're here in exile? We, Adam HaRishon, ate from the tree, good and bad. That means all the nishamot that is included in Adam HaRishon, the first man, came down and they were mixed between good and bad. Each one of us have a good and bad. When we eat an apple, it's a good. Then when it goes number 2, that goes bad out. That's why the man was all the time good. We didn't go for 40 years. We didn't go to number 2 and number 1. Right. So, he says each one of us, we have to do solidification every day new, which is today is Tuesday, and this day, never we did, livarer, which means we did between good and bad. We take the bad, we take it away, we don't give him a life, we take a good and we go and we take it to the heavens. והנה נאמר שמות ו50 עלו בני ישראל מארץ מצרים. He says only 20% out of 100% came out from Egypt. דרשו בו מחילתא אחד מחמישה כי מתו רשעים בשלושה ימי אפילה. He says the wicked one passed away in the 3 days of darkness. ולעת קץ נאמר, he says in the time of the end, בו עובדים בארץ אשור ונדיחם בארץ מצרים, כאז יבררם השם יתברך בעצמו. And Hashem, he says, he would take him, these people that passed away in the 3 days in Egypt, Hashem was going to do the job. למה לא המתין מהקדוש ברוך הוא במצרים עד שיבררו כולם? He says, why did Hashem did not wait so everybody else were able to come out? כי לא יכלו, he says, they cannot be another second. Why? בירור ההוא כבר משאר נון לקליפה. He says the outer shell, it became in a 50th gate. It's almost impossible to take out of it the kedusha. וזה אינו מסר בידינו, כי אדרבה חס ויכול להשתקע בארצותם לברר. וידע השם יתברך שהם בחוק מין, שאשר רק אז יברר לעת קץ. He says only Hashem able those souls that passed away in the 3 days of darkness, He's the one only able to take them out. נראה פשוט ביטול שער נון שער טומאה, לעתיד לבוא יתקיים על ידי גילוי גדול שיגלה לנו הקדוש ברוך הוא. What takes to fight the amalek and to nullify this 50th gate and the 49th gate? He says we need a big light. גילוי גדול, we need to big light to be open to הקדוש ברוך הוא לנו. זה לעומת זה נון שערי קדושה. We need to get to connect it, the 50th gate of the kedusha. ויש לומר שזה נתכוון הכונן אלוקים באומרים, כי גדול כים שיברך, מי ירפא לך? רמז ים, גימטריה נון. He says, who is going to give you the healing? Eov says yam, which just means the sea. The sea which just means 50. The 50th gate of the kedusha and the 50th gate of the tuma. כנגד אלו שעקו נון שערי טומאה, כי גדול כים שיברך, כי אין לך שבר גדול מזה שאי אפשר להוציאם משער נון, אבל מכיוון שלא ידחו ממנו נידח כן, מי ירפא לך? מי נון, כשיגלה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעתיד לבוא. It says, in the future, Hashem will open us, for us, a 50th gate. And that 50th gate is going to be clarity. Whatever the machlokot, whatever safekot, safek doubts we have, whatever not understanding we have, whatever the laziness that we had, that's going to be the 50th gate. So each one of you able to reach the 50th gate. Because we in Ikveta de Mashiach. Bashur non share tuma, רמז לעניין בתואר הגדול נקרא מהשם יתברך, שיח יגלה שער נון 50. Mashiach, he says, Mashiach, which just means the Melech of Mashiach, he's going to reveal for us the 50th gate. Kriyat Yamsuf bitul shar nun batuma. When we went through the Kriyat Yamsuf, which just means, some Chazal say, it's like reborn again. The Yamsuf, it's a brit, which just means when a person comes out, the semen, he comes out from Yamsuf, he becomes like a new person. It says when we came out from Yamsuf, we came out like a new person. And he says over here, when we came out through Yamsuf, which just means splitting the sea, Hashem made for us, nullify the 50th gate of the Tumah. לכן, לומר, יאיר עינינו להבין מיד מי זה עיר. That's why we should ask Hashem, please enlighten my eyes so I could see something. At least something. What do we ask all the time? Give me. King Solomon asked, give me chokhmah, wisdom, knowledge, and everything else will come. But if the person is not smart enough and does not ask who belongs to chokhmah, knowledge is wisdom, to Hashem. We need to ask. If we don't ask, what are we thinking? It's going to come by the way anyways. He owes me. Hashem owes me. That's the way, that's the attitude that we have. Nobody owes nobody over here, especially Hashem. We ask, we're going to get. We don't ask, how are we going to get? But Rabbi, I ask you so many times. Sincere. Sincereness is the key to success. Be sincere with Hashem. He does more than anybody in this world. So it says following, כעניין הוא מצרים רומז על הסכנה הגדולה של ישראל. Mitzrayim says is one of the dangerous places that we've been. כי פן ישקעו חס ושלום בשער נון של הטומאה, לא יכול נגלם משם. He says from Mitzrayim we're not able to come out if we be in the 50th gate of the Tumah. וזה מצרים אותיות מצר ים. What's the Mitzrayim represents? Metzer Yam, which just means constricted sea, which just means constricted. כי בכלל ישראל נותנים במצר של הים גימטריה נון. Yam, which is גימטריה, numerical value 50. שער נון של הטומאה, the 50th gate of the impurity. זה העניין שגזר פרעה ראש קליפה מצרים. He says Pharaoh is the Rosh Klipa. He's the head of the impurity. כל הבן היולד היורד תשליכוהו. He says the born baby boy, throw him in a river. שגזר לתוך הים, שער נון. He says throw him in a river in the 50th gate of the impurity. כי ידע שיצליח להשקיעם בעומק נון שער של הטומאה לא יצאו משם לעולם. That's why he was throwing all these boys. He says, I'm gonna drown them and they would never come out from the טומאה. לכן, בשעת יציאה, שאבינו מצרים שבני ישראל לא יכלו להתמהמה, פחד שלא ישקעו בשער נון. Yidden was afraid they will be in the 50th gate of impurity. It says in Shemot, in the Torah, Yud Dalet Tet, 14:9, וירדפו מצרים אחריכם ויסוגו אותם חונם על הים, כל סוס רכב פרעה, פרשה וחילו. He says, once they let us go, the Egyptians, they start running after us with the horses, with the wealth. Why are you running after us? כלומר, שירדפו מצרים אחרי ישראל. Why are they running after Jewish people? Why are they running after Yidden? Why they don't run after others? There's so many nations around you. Why are you running after Yidden? Because the Yidden has the Kedusha. When you suck him from the Kedusha, from the holiness, they're not holiness living automatically because you give him the Chayut, because you give him life and sources. How a person gives life and sources to the impurity? Sins. Sin a person makes impurity to feed him and give him fuel. One of my students said, he said, why the Jewish people did in a Parashat Ki Tisa, why they did a golden calf? What's the reason? They say Moshe Rabbeinu is not around, so they were depressed, and that's why they did it. Okay. So why they not, if they're depressed, how come they were dancing around it? If you saying that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, he's not available, they're depressed, they're building a golden calf and they're dancing. So if you're building, why are you dancing if you're depressed? Huh? There's another opinion. Again, you know 70th. There's a 69, 68, 67. There's a Shivim Panim Le Torah. You settle only with one rabbi. Yerevam ben Navad knows 103 interpretation in the Torah. 103 tells the yeshiva of Tel, saying he went from the Europe to United States of America. They were going from the boat, on a boat. The Rosh Yeshiva was with his gabbai. They were partying upstairs in a boat. They are downstairs. All of a sudden, the wind came out of the salah, they almost drowned. They stopped partying. The wind, the storm stopped. They are continuing partying. The gabbai asked the rabbi, he says, we're all about to drown right now. They were partying an hour ago. They stopped partying. Once the storm stopped, they continue partying. He says that's the nature of human. I give you a prime example. One of the kidnappers was Mia. She got shot in the arm, young girl. And she's today, she went to the Oscar somewhere in Los Angeles. She's one of the Hamas kidnappers, that's from Israeli. And she got in the arm shot. And she still have a cast on her. Why they shot her on the arm and kidnapped her? And Hashem made a miracle, bring her back. Why in the arm? You know why? She's a tattoo artist. You cannot be tattoo artist. You cannot have tattoo. Hashem is giving us messages. Whoever is understand it, understand it. Whoever did not understand it, they say, it's just a mikre. It just happened. Coincidence. But why the arm? By being kidnapped. Hashem saved you. Wake. Awaken call. No awaken call. Not being so-called be religious. No. Just hear the message. Why they shot you in the arm, first of all? Second of all, they kidnapped you. Third of all, they did the operation inside the Gaza for you. Fourth of all, you came back. Hashem saved you. You see, for a lot of us, the message is there. It's just, are we clicking to message? Are we understand what the message is? Or we just say it's coincidence? What are you guys gonna tell me? Whatever happened to this kidnapped young lady, that was just a coincidence? There's no coincidence in this world. There's some messengers. Like the Telzer Rebbe says, the Am Yisrael Yidden, yes, they did it. They were depressed and they were happy, right? They were so-called dancing. He says that's the nature of a human. They go back, they forget, and they continue like nothing happened. We will dance again. That's what we do say. But there's a message behind it. If we go in the depths of it, Hashem is talking to us every time. But what we do about it, either we're going to say, close the door, we're going to say it's a nature, or it just happened, the war happened, and that's it. Let us hear the message, שתמחה את amalek בעזרת השם, שלעם ישראל ששון ושמחה, so we should all do תשובה שלמה בעזרת השם, שהקדוש ברוך הוא יבוא לנו משיח גואל, במהרה בימינו וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
Laziness, it's like I'm confused a little bit.
Right, confusion.